Hello everybody, welcome to another Saturday vlog. Today I have the dog on my lap from the start because she was looking for getting some of my attention. Don't know why. Maybe she wants to go outside. We want a snack. What that? What that? Me? That reminds me I need to cut her hair around her eyes because it's starting to get a little bit in the way. What is it that you want? She wants something. What do you sneaky man? What do you sneaky man? In reference as well to yesterday's talk about how I talked to the dog. I don't think that was very sensible. I don't think I want to fill an entire hour doing that. You want a snack? I think a snack is fine. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do that real quick. Hang on. You don't believe me. And we're back. Okay, so I gave her a little snack. She's currently sitting on the couch, so it should be fine. So, this week, nothing terribly interesting happened this week. The only thing that really stands out to me currently is, of course, the bug incident that I'll probably go into in a moment as well. And another thing, also work-related, I'm going to keep it general, of course, because I don't want to actually, out anybody or anything like that. But, so sometimes you have a person working at the same office as you, and they are looking for another job. And they lose motivation in their current job because of it. Like there's something new on the horizon for them, and then they're like, okay, well, I don't really care about this work anymore. And that gets in the way of people who are just trying to do their job as well, because certain people have access to certain systems, and if they're not doing their job, then the people who need to know stuff in that system but can't access it and have to go through you now can get to that. So that is really annoying. And they were also kind of lax beforehand as well. This particular person, like forwarding calls to people without actually letting the person who the call is being forwarded to, who they're about to get on the line, which is always great because you normally when my phone rings, it means somebody is forwarding a call. And I expect to hear somebody from the office first to tell me, hey, you've got this person on the line and they're looking for information about X, Y, and Z. But instead, suddenly, I just answered like, hello, and they go, yeah, hello, I'm from this and that company, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hello, who is this person? Give me a second to pull up a system or something so I can look up some information beforehand or whatever, prepare myself for the next conversation, but nope, straight on there. So they were doing that, and I told them not to do that, but then I get no response. And as well, I've asked them for certain information from that system that I can't access, and then the response is also lacking. I don't know what the deal is. They're very unmotivated, and it bothers me. Like, okay, if I were to have another job on the horizon, then that doesn't mean that I don't have to do my current job because other people depend on me. So it's like, I wouldn't just sit there and slack for the remaining however many months it is that I would have to spend in order to end this one job and go to the next. I didn't do that last time either. I just kept doing my job. As a matter of fact, in the last few weeks of my previous job, the last few months even, all I did all day long was document anything I could think of that they might run into, that they wouldn't be able to ask me anymore because I would be gone, and then they would have all this other stuff they could refer to in case there was an issue, and try to write down anything I could think of on different systems that I had in my my scope, so to speak, so that they wouldn't have issues with that upon my leaving. And of course, at the same time, I would also make sure to do my job as well, because things just keep going. The company doesn't disappear just because you do, and these things need to continue. So it always bothers me when I see somebody who is already demotivated, and they might have good reasons for being demotivated. There might be something going on or whatever, but if you're not talking to people about these things and all people see from you is that you're not doing your job, that leaves a very negative impression. I'm the type of person who does things and wants to do the best job that I can, and then I find other people who aren't quite in that same mindset or are very passive or something like that. Passive aggressive, another great one. And that really bothers me because there's no reason for any of that. There are certain ways you can tell when somebody's annoyed with you, so I've definitely shown that a few times, and maybe that wasn't right, but sometimes I get annoyed and it shows. That's basically the long and short of it. So that was that story. Now, yesterday on the Minecraft stream, I was also talking about an instance that happened yesterday that was something completely different. So my work is I do e-learning development, and I manage the people who take those e-learning courses. So I have like my contact with them, I give them their accounts, I troubleshoot whenever they got like issues there, stuff like that. So that's basically my actual job. Part of that is also to help develop the courses, and in order to do that, I tend to branch out to all sorts of other things, try out new applications, see which ways we can make things more interactive and stuff like that. That also led me to discovering a tool that we're now using all over the place, which everybody's very happy with, so that's nice. I guess that's nice. Still didn't get my hoodie though. I keep asking for like a hoodie or something along those lines, like a bit of merch that I could show off from our own company, not from the company. And the company that I got the tool from, which is now being used all over the place, actually did send me some merch. So that was nice, but my own company hasn't yet deemed it worthy to give me a nice little present to celebrate the fact that I was so useful the past year. Anyway, so that's another thing entirely. But yeah, I branch out to different things, and I also end up looking into all sorts of creative tools and stuff like that. And I tend to draw things in. Like, oh, I see something that needs doing. I'm not going to ask if anyone else is going to do that. I'm going to do that because I have an idea and I'm going to do that. And my idea is approved by myself. And then I carry it out by myself. And then afterwards, I'll share the results. And sometimes people are happy with that and sometimes they're not. So that's just how I work. So yesterday I had a similar thing happen where we have these little characters that we tend to use for our animations in our communications outward and our brochures and flyers as well. So there's like these certain characters that we have, a standard set. And the ones that we used to have looked kind of old and gray and very inflexible. So we spent some time making new ones. So this was all above board. There were other people working on this as well. And then when we finally finished our new set of people, we wanted to replace like a family photo that we have sitting on our own local intranet for the homepage. And so I went ahead and like made a composition of all the little characters put together. Like, hey, this is the new family. I put that on the page. And then I was like, hey, this would also be nice to put in a mug. So I'm talking to like the people in my team who are currently online. Well, it was a Friday, so there weren't that many, but still. And they also thought it was nice and it would be fun to have it in a mug. So I just go ahead and make the image to go in the mug. And because it is a company mug, or at least a company image, I put a logo on there. And this was a logo that I thought we were going to start using again, because there were discussions going on like, hey, maybe we want to change the name for this or that to this name. And then that logo had that name on it, even though it was actually no longer valid. I updated it a bit by putting like the tagline underneath that was now new, and then I put that on the logo or on the image with the mug, because I thought, hey, this might spark the conversation to finally push through that change, and then this logo is going to be totally relevant. I only ever really wanted it to be like an internal use item anyway. I ordered it with my own money. I ordered 5 mugs that went like all the way around printed. Like it was a long image that would wrap around. And they have this option to color the inside of the mug and the handle a certain color. So I chose the company color. So all in all, it looked like a really fun mug. So I show that to the little team that I work with, and they're like, oh yeah, that looks great. We should probably try to hand that out to somebody, whatever, as a prize or something. So I'm like, okay, maybe you could give it to somebody of another company, like a gift to say, hey, remember us, we're pretty good, maybe you want to do business with us again sometime in the future. So I talked to the guy who used to do like that type of marketing, account management type of stuff. And of course, the first thing he says is that logo is no longer valid, and maybe you should have checked with somebody. And of course, that's totally logical. And I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, I probably should have checked, but I wasn't in that headspace for everything being totally correct. And also I have this mode that I approve things myself, like I said earlier, and that means I think it needs to be finished, so it needs to be done. So I'm working on it, and I'm actually not showing anybody until I'm done. It's like, hey, this is the result, like I said earlier. So he says, yeah, the logo, it's a nice idea, but I don't know about that logo. I don't think we can send that externally, so maybe try doing that sometime or something else next time or whatever. Like, okay. So the idea of giving it as a prize to the winner of the occasional pub quiz that we have was also suggested by somebody in the team. So I was like, okay, I'll go to our CEO because they have like a vested interest in keeping the pub quizzes alive, and maybe they'll think it's a good idea. And of course I want to make sure to inform her that I have made these mugs and that they will show up at the office at some point, because if other people know and she's the last one to find out, that'd be a bit of an issue. So I go and send her a message with the image of the mug as well. And it is a very cute looking mug. It's just that the logo is like off, I guess. But I thought it was going to be relevant, so that's a different story. But okay, fine. So I sent her the whole story, like, hey, I was a little bit too enthusiastic. I made these mugs and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, that's such a nice idea. But yeah, that logo, we can't do that. But at the end of that little discussion, she said what we would like to do internally is redesign a few of those tables that you can like stand, like standing tables, the small ones, square ones, because they have the old animation characters on it and the old logo. So that's like a new project that we now have then as a result of this ultimately. And she was okay with the mugs just being around the kitchen and just using them internally. She actually liked them, but yeah, the logo once again. So maybe I can have them redesigned with the new logo on it next time, and then we'll have some extra mugs that we could send out, perhaps. I don't know. We got 5 new ones already, so then we'll have 10. I don't know. But just as an example of a person, me having what they call internal reference and internal locus of control, meaning that I come up with the ideas, I check with myself if it's a good idea, and then I carry it out, and I also carry the responsibility and the accountability of said action, because it's all me in this regard. Like where some people, they will ask other people for inputs. All the input that I need comes from within me, which can sometimes be good and sometimes not so good, but then we'll find out about that later. So in the end, everything turns out okay, so it's not like it's a huge deal, but sometimes I do need to rein in my own horses, as you would say. Is that the correct response? Hold your horses, I think. Yeah, rein it in and hold your horses both at the same time. And then things will run a little smoother. But I'm not going to stop doing it. But I just need to be careful, I guess, with immediately ordering things online. Because I did have them ordered already. And they're going to arrive sometime around the 15th to 17th of July. So they'll be there suddenly. And then suddenly there will be these mugs. And we're probably going to get more people saying, hey, but these logos aren't like valid anymore when they go and get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And then they see the new mugs and want to take a look at it, and then they see the logo, and then of course I'm probably going to hear some more about that then. It's one of those gifts that keep on giving, that people are going to continuously notice the logo because they can't just all see it at the same time, have the discussion to be done. You'll know how people come in one after the other and go, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, have you seen this, have you seen that? And they'll start talking amongst themselves as well. So that's going to be a thing as well. So if it gets too much... gets too frustrating for me to have this conversation continuously, I'll just take them all home and use them around the house because I paid for them. So those are effectively my mugs. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I think that's it for today because I haven't really experienced that much during the week. Nothing much happened here. It's been a rainy, kind of weird weather type of week. Couldn't really figure out what to wear most of the time. And as where the week before, I was wearing all this summery outfits, like the really light garments, like nice and cool and everything. This week I wore mostly just jeans and a shirt because I just didn't want to get too cold because we always have the windows open at the office now because of the whole corona thing. And there are people coughing all over the place, so windows open with the corona ventilation. I don't know. I think it's not really helping. It's not hindering maybe, although people might catch a cold a little faster and then they have to stay home because they think they might have the coronavirus, but it could just be a cold because the window's always open. We'll see how it goes. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you managed to, I don't know, distill something from that whole mess because I feel like I was rambling for a good amount of time there. And of course, speaking really quickly because that's what I do. I'll see you next week, I guess. So have a nice week. Take care of yourself and bye-bye for now.